Hello, everybody. Welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom, and this is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. And the grind has begun. We are into not only, I think, our first 3-game week, but 2 3-game weeks in a row, as in weekend, midweek, weekend, midweek, weekend. So, first of all, apologies. This is pre-recorded. We normally go live with the Championship preview show, but it's very, very difficult to fit everything in over these next 2 weeks. So we might have to do a few more things like this. But thank you all for tuning in. And normally one of the great parts of this show is your predictions for the results. Still, please get them in the comments. I'll put this up as a premiere. Get them in the live chat. I think people really enjoy the predictions part. Right. We've got an entire midweek round to get through. 12 games split over the Tuesday and the Wednesday. We will get there ever so imminently, but I just need to thank our partners here. First of all, a fan sponsor. The Donovan brothers are sponsors of the Championship preview show, and their sponsorship is in loving memory of Michael Donovan of South East London. You can see him pictured there, Michael, a lifelong Millwall fan, an admirer of this show. And this is a tribute to Michael, who sadly passed earlier on this year. Thank you to the Donovan brothers as ever. And what a great way to celebrate the life of Michael. And we also have a business sponsor this couple of weeks. If you look up there, I'll switch that over and that will say Fan First. Please head over to www.fanfirst.co.uk. And this is a user-generated, fan-generated ratings tool site. So you basically go in, register, let the guys know which team you support, and then you can go in and get rating. You can rate players, manager, referees, even the VAR in the Premier League. And it's going to be a really, really good tool. I'm always talking about the stats versus the eye test. Well, this is going to give us the eye test. People love giving ratings. They love reading ratings. So why not head over to fanfirst.co.uk, get registered and represent the Championship over there. Already full of Premier League fans, but we want some Championship fans. Right. Speaking of the Championship, everybody drink. Let's go over to the split screen. And there you can see this midweek of fixtures. So, how's it split? 7 and 5 by the look of it? Yes. So, on Tuesday, Forest Rotherham, Norwich Birmingham. That would be a watch along on the channel. Come and join us for that tomorrow. God, it is only tomorrow, isn't it? Coventry, Swansea, Millwall, Luton, Huddersfield, Derby, Bristol City, Borough, Reading, Wycombe. Then on Wednesday night, just the 4 games. Oh, is that 8 and 4 then? Goodness me. No, it is 5, sorry. Watford, Blackburn, Stoke, Barnsley, Sheffield Wednesday, Brentford, QPR, Preston, and Cardiff, Bournemouth. So 7 games on Tuesday night, 5 games on Wednesday night. As ever, we will go down from the top of the table. So first up, we need to go to Bristol City, who are playing Borough. You can see there, if I scroll the table, Bristol City still top of the league, still unbeaten. And were it not for a 90 plus 12, I know there was an issue with Solbauer being injured, penalty, they would have a full set of 15 points. Been a brilliant start for Dean Holden and Bristol City. Neil Warnock there, I don't think he'll be that disappointed with where he's at because he already knows, okay, he's in 15th and he's only won 1 game. But he knows his team are hard to beat and he knows his team are quite hard to score against. And the only game they lost it's a set play goal in the opening day against Watford, wasn't it? So I don't think Warnock will be too unhappy. I think he'll start to try and move things into winning ways, obviously. If we just bring up the form, you can see, Bristol City, absolutely superb form. In ignore that one at the bottom there. But from then on up, 4 straight wins. That's this season, obviously. And then the draw with 2 home games coming up, though. Reasonably tricky, though, isn't it? Against Borough and then Swansea. But we're not worrying about that. We're only worrying about this game coming up. And then for Borough, that defeat. Couple of draws there. Bournemouth, well, they're going to be a good side this season, I think. Against QPR away, they took the draw. Then the victory there against Barnsley and 0-0 against Reading. I mean, when you look at it that way, they've played 2 relegated parachute teams and they've played one of the top teams in form in Reading up at the top of the league. So do you see what I'm saying? It hasn't been that terrible a start, I don't think, for Borough. In this one, obviously, I think Borough under Warnock are always going to be hard to play against. Can they get something? It just depends on... I don't see Borough scoring more than 1 goal in this game. So it just depends on how they defend, really. If they defend well, obviously they get the win. If they let Bristol City in and Chris Martin and Wells playing so well up front, I have a sneaking feeling it could be a low-scoring draw, but I don't see Borough winning it. They could eke out a 1-0, but I think possibly a low-scoring draw. Get your predictions in via the comments, and we will move on to our second-place team, which would be Reading. And Reading have the game, no offence to Wycombe fans, they have the game that everybody wants at the moment. And that is why, because Wycombe have lost every single one of their games. And it's, 4-1 against 12. And that goal on Saturday against Millwall was from a big mistake by Bielkowski as well. So Wycombe not looking good. Reading looking very good. If we bring the form up, you will see in a similar fashion to Bristol City that Reading had won 4 on the bounce, including beating a parachute team there in Watford, and then going up to Neil Warnock's Middlesbrough, who we've just been talking about, obviously, getting a point up there. There's been questions as to whether it's sustainable. They've kept it going this far, haven't they, Reading? Lucas Shaw back in up top for them still without John Swift. In terms of Wycombe, well, it's not been good at all, has it? Lost late on against Rotherham, hammered by Blackburn, hammered by Swansea. That could have been 5 as well. 2-0 there at Luton. And then that turnaround against Millwall, who I think made hard work of it from what my Millwall friends were telling me, but were good value for the win nonetheless. So it's very hard for me to predict anything other than a Reading victory in this one. Look, Wycombe are going to score a point. They are going to get a win. Someone's going to lose to them. It will happen. I'm just not sure in this moment that it's going to be Veljko Paunovic's Reading. So I will go for a home win in that one. And get your predictions in the comments. And we will move on to third place Bournemouth. And this looks quite an interesting one. Quite a good test for both teams, in fact, is Cardiff versus Bournemouth. Cardiff off the back of a good win over at Preston this past game week. And Bournemouth drawing 0-0 against QPR. Currently 3rd and 12th in the table. Obviously, Bournemouth, you can see they're still undefeated. Let's just have a look at the form for both. And again, ignore loads of fixtures there on Cardiff. We're reading up from the Sheffield Wednesday game. So, interesting, couple of home defeats there. Cardiff actually better away from home. Look, they've got all their points, in fact, away from home, haven't they? Whereas at home, if I hit that button, yeah, they are losing. So don't know whether that informs us, whether they're a better away team indeed. Bournemouth they've started pretty well. 3-2 win over Blackburn. Then a draw against Borough. They beat Norwich. Beat Coventry quite handily, actually. But then that 0-0 there against QPR at the weekend. This is quite a difficult one to call, I think. I can't see Cardiff losing at home again, but I can't see Bournemouth losing either. So maybe I'm just going to sit on the fence and go for another draw in that one, as it's a difficult one to call. Be interested in your predictions on that one. Feels like neither team's quite at it yet. Maybe Bournemouth's ceiling is higher than Cardiff's ceiling. It probably is. But yeah, I'm going to go for a draw in that one. And we'll go on to the fourth place team, which is, speaking of Cardiff, they're South Wales rivals. And God, it's so incestuous. Every time we talk about one team, they're playing in the next game, aren't they? Coventry City versus Swansea. You can see there, Swansea in fourth position. Nicely tucked in. First defeat there at home to Huddersfield. Coventry now are 3 without a win. So bit alarming. Coventry don't want that to turn into, a long, long run of not winning. You can see there, well, I suppose Brentford and Bournemouth is the mitigating factor that they're good teams. And, we've said this about Coventry. Look, they've picked up points there against QPR and Barnsley. So maybe they're just going to play their form, and teams that, they have a chance against, particularly in home games, they're going to get the points. But maybe the upper teams, they're not going to. You would possibly put Swansea in that category, although I did not expect Swansea to lose to Huddersfield at the weekend. So I'm talking myself round in circles here as ever. Some good transfer dealings in for Swansea, I thought, despite losing Rodden. I think Manning will presumably see him soon. Ryan Bennett, the guy from Man City, who I still haven't learnt the name properly, and Casey Palmer as well. Having listed all of those names and concluded that Coventry maybe are a little bit slippy against the upper teams, I'm going to go for an away win in this one. I'm going to go for a Swansea victory. Get your predictions in via the comments. We are on to Watford next, who were far from entertaining the other day. Let's just say we had them on the watch along, Watford, but they got the 1-0 win over Derby at Pride Park. It wasn't pretty, but they ground it down. I mean, look there, 5 games, only 3 goals, only 1 against. They are very, very stingy, solid, sturdy, stable, all of those things. They're not entertaining yet. They may become that way, but it all seems very much organisation and defence and things of that nature at the moment. So they're going to be tricky customers, I think, for people, especially to go to Vicarage Road, where they're obviously unbeaten. Let's have a look at the form. Sorry, any Blackburn fans there will be annoyed that I didn't even mention them in that. Blackburn, we'll just do a quick scroll again. 9th in the table. Did have a nice little run of 7 points in a row, but quite fortuitous goal that saw them lose at home to Forest. A deflected late goal there as Krissy gets the win on his first game. I'm just looking at what I've just said, and even though Blackburn have got Armstrong and Dolan and Brereton playing up top, and they've brought in Tribal and Douglas, I think Watford will be able to shut them out. I really, really do, just with the organisation and the quality they've got in there. It'd be interesting to see if some of the star attacking players come back for Watford, because if they can keep the defensive solidity and then add in either Deeney, Gray, Sarr, Hughes, you name them, they're coming back. It looks like quite a dangerous proposition, doesn't it? I'm going to go for a home win and Ivic to keep up the pace there with Watford. He has a horrendously high points per game in his times in Greece and Israel, does Vladimir Ivic. So This isn't, let's just say, something that we've not seen before from Mr. Ivic. Right, game number 6 is Millwall versus Luton Town. And if I do my job properly, you will see that they are right jammed together on 6th and 7th place in the table. They've got exactly the same 5 goals scored, 4 goals against. Luton have done that by losing one more game, though, and therefore have, they've won one more game, in fact, as well. So they have one more point so far than Millwall. I'm sure if Luton finished above Millwall, that would probably constitute a good season, bearing in mind where we think Millwall might likely finish. In terms of Millwall there, we'll do first. Draw, win, draw, defeat at Swansea, and then another win. They look fairly sort of steady at home. Obviously, they're unbeaten. They're always good. They're down at the Den. In terms of Luton, well, they've beaten Wycombe, they've beaten Derby, and they've beaten Barnsley. So they've taken advantage over teams maybe not in good moments. And then they've come a cropper against Watford and against Stoke. So that would maybe play into the narrative of a Millwall, victory in this one. So get your predictions in. I think I am going to go for a home win in this one. We're halfway through, so I'm just going to give one more plug here. www.fanfirst.co.uk. They're sponsoring the channel. Our first business sponsor. Really, really happy to have Matt and his website sponsoring us here at the channel. So please go over to FanFirst, www.fanfirst.co.uk. It's in the description. Go over there and register and go and get rating. Rate your team, rate the managers, etc., etc. And we need championship people on there. That means you. Right, let's move on. And we are up to 8th place Stoke, who play Barnsley, which is a game that rings some bells for me, let's just say, because I remember last season, the first game when Michael O'Neill took over was Barnsley versus Stoke. And obviously since then, Barnsley had that mad escape and Struber has come and gone. Stoke pushed on and had a good second half of the season. I think they would have been somewhere up there, definitely in the top 8. I think even higher, actually, if you just take the record under Michael O'Neill. So it feels like Stoke have steadied the ship and Barnsley are almost exactly where they were. They're without a manager and they're not winning and they're down the bottom of the league. And a highly rated manager that everybody liked has come and gone. So not great, really, from a Barnsley point of view. Stoke are just starting to churn it out now, as you expect that they would under Michael O'Neill. There you can see draw. There was the defeat at high-flying Bristol City, but otherwise they've gone to Preston and won. They've drawn against Birmingham. They have won away at Luton. And you can just see them keeping on churning it out. High 1.6, 1.7, maybe even higher points per game. And you just know that they're going to be there or thereabouts, don't you? Barnsley, you'd be worried about, wouldn't you? No victories. That is a last game of last season, that win there away at Brentford, famously there. And otherwise, yeah, I thought they were unlucky against Reading with the, given that the red cards changed the game, but nothing since then. And obviously, manager going out and Adam Murray doing the caretaker job there again. So it seems a fairly safe home win prediction, I think, in this one. And maybe if Struber was there and they were in a good moment, maybe, but new manager needed there at Barnsley, I think. Moving on, next is Brentford. And Brentford will be visiting Sheffield Wednesday. It's been an interesting one, actually, because Sheffield Wednesday, contrary to their position, well, they would be up there in the playoff positions, wouldn't they? They'd be above Brentford if it wasn't for the -12. You can see there they have scored 8 points already, but they're way on down. So in form, they're actually in better form than Brentford are, and they are playing at home. In years past, Brentford obviously up there in 10th, you can see, but they've had a couple of defeats, Brentford. But once you can explain away, I will just say, I mean, many people call me a Brentford apologist. Maybe I am a little bit. I'm a big fan of what they've done and how they've run. But the Birmingham one we did as a watch along, they should definitely have got something from that game, but bad in both boxes and kind of classic Brentford of the last few years performance. And then the one against Preston was balmy, wasn't it? 2-0 up and then lost 4-2 there. Sheffield Wednesday looks maybe a little bit more sustainable. They have only lost the one game, and that was against high-flying Bristol City, which I'm obliged to call them. And I think I have about 5 times already this broadcast. So apologies for that. But good win. Monk returning to Birmingham to get the win there. So given the form, look, obviously I think Brentford have got better players than Sheffield Wednesday. I don't think many people would dispute that. But in this moment, I can see Sheffield Wednesday getting something from this. Remember, Tony's in good form, obviously, but they're now trying to get the new front three. Is it going to be Mbuemo, Tony and Kanyos, or maybe Godos gets the spot in the end, or Fosu? Feels like a good time to have a pop at Brentford, especially at home. Wednesday in good form, and they're on -4. They're so close to breaking even on that -12 points already. I think they're going to get something. I think they're going to get a draw in this one. Get your predictions in the comments. Don't argue with mine. Put yours in there. We want to hear what you've got to say. It's all a little bit of fun at the end of the day. And Norwich fans were having a little bit of fun at the weekend because they actually managed to get their first win in, since the opening day of the season there. So Norwich move up into 11th. There, Birmingham sat in 16th. Birmingham had a run of draws. So, in fact, both sides hadn't won going into this weekend's game since the opening day of the season. Norwich, well, a bit of a mess with those 2 defeats, and Daniel Farker in the comments about Cantwell and Buendia. But Buendia's then returned to the team and started both the previous games. Can they now get Cantwell back into the team? And can Norwich start to click and play the way they did in 18-19? We'll find out. There's not much evidence of it yet. That win at Rotherham was in the 95th minute. They scored from an own goal and a 95th minute penalty and saved a penalty of their own. And it was against 10 men for, it was 1-1, 11 versus 11, wasn't it? So we're not seeing a nice, obvious, right, Norwich are in good form at the moment. It might come. We will see. Birmingham, well, I mean, the one thing to notice is it's Karanka, and look there, 1 goal, 2 goals, 2 goals, 1. No more than 2 goals in any of the games. So we know before we even go into this what the probable game state will be. It will be Birmingham trying to absorb Norwich and keep them out and keep everything nice and solid, and then go and try and grab themselves a goal. So I don't see Birmingham winning, but there is a chance they could come away with a point in this one. I think Norwich are going to have too much for them, however. So I will go for a home victory. And that is our watch along tomorrow. So if you are a Birmingham fan or a Norwich fan, come and join us on the channel. Tomorrow night we'll be here from 7:30 covering that one. And of course, there'll be other games going on as well, so we can flit in and out of what is happening there. Right, 3 to go, guys. We're off to Huddersfield next. And didn't Huddersfield have a tremendous result over the weekend, going to Cardiff and, Swansea. My apologies. Going to Swansea and winning. That really, I think one of our commenters said, good statement that was. It is a good statement, isn't it? And look, 7 points in the last 3 games for Carlos Corberan. Derby, not going so well. Rooney apparently is going to be self-isolating as well. Light up front, light on wins. I'm concerned about Derby, I have to say. And their neighbours, Forest, and the manager came a cropper. in this very stadium, really. We all saw Sabri Lamouchi and that gnarly 1-0 defeat over at Huddersfield. You can see it there on the 25th of September. I wonder if a similar fate lies in wait for Philip Koku if he goes there and it's gnarly and he loses 1-0. I think he might lose, actually. I know there's Waghorn and Lawrence. Lawrence came off the bench, didn't he, to come? So there are players to come back up top there. But from what I've seen so far at Derby, they seem to have now gone to a very sort of defensive, retroactive, passive sort of shape. And yeah, I'm a bit concerned in this one. So look, I'm going to go for a Huddersfield win here, which would mean actually a great run for Huddersfield. That would mean 10 points across 4 games. And it would continue a very poor run for Derby, where all does not seem overly well. Just that one victory there, the last minute Wayne Rooney free kick over at Norwich. Right, 2 to go, guys. We're going to QPR versus Preston next. Rangers lying 14th in the table. I think from what I can ascertain, they had quite a good showing at high-flying Bournemouth at the weekend. It was 0-0. I know Macaulay Bonne had the best chance in the game for either team there and didn't take it. So, look, no wins in there, 3 draws in a row. Preston are very spotty, aren't they? Look, loss, draw, loss, win, loss. So, pretty erratic, actually, Preston. But obviously more than capable of getting something under Alex Neil. And it's the Championship, isn't it? So, yeah, the draws for Rangers against Borough and Wednesday and Bournemouth. Their one win against Forest in a bad moment. So, again, the question, have they beaten anybody in form yet? No, not really. But the next question is, are Preston in form? No, just that mad win there. Brentford, where it just clicked for a half and they maybe showed their potential. But looking at their away form, well, their away form's actually better than their home form, isn't it? Interesting. And with that being said, let's go for, I have to go for one silly one. Let's go for an away win for Preston in this one, just on the basis I clicked the button and their away form was better than their home form. And they're erratic and probably out of nowhere they'll strangely win an away game 3-1 or something. I'm seeing a lot more sustainability so far at QPR, but hey, it's the Championship, so I'll go for a weird one there. Right, last one, guys, is Forest versus Rotherham. Rotherham in 17th now. And, oh, my God, Rotherham's last-minute woes are just, well, they're not nice to look at, but we're going to look at them anyway. If you look down at the bottom of the table, here comes Chris Hughton. Straight away wins a game in the last minute with a deflected goal and straight away takes Forest out of that bottom 3. Rotherham there, 5 points. No wins in 4 does not tell the whole story, does it? If we bring those games up, let's look at Rotherham on the right-hand side first. All about the last-minute goals here. They won in the last minute against Wycombe. Okay, Millwall, open play, no last-minute goal. Then against Birmingham, it was the 2 late penalties and they snatched a draw from the jaws of victory. Then against Huddersfield, even worse, an own goal in like the 95th minute. And then against Norwich there. So, like I said on the review show, 1 or 2 things will happen here. Either Rotherham are being very unlucky or they're just not quite good enough. If they're just not quite good enough, we don't know. Give me 46 games and I'll tell you properly. If they're just not quite good enough, then these things are going to continue happening. If they're being unlucky, we'll see a turn and some of those late things will start to go for them rather than against them. We'll see. They're a really well-run club, so I'm kind of rooting for it to be the latter, but we'll see. In terms of Forest, we've just got Chris Hughton in there now, though, haven't we? And I keep saying my go-to narrative, look at all those defeats there under Lamouchi there. Look at that. 6 in a row there. Goodness me. And I think it was no wins in 10 or something. I just feel Hughton in the Championship with some backing and a good squad. I just think he's going to do the business. So I'm going to go for a home win in this one. But Rotherham, I do think Rotherham are going to be okay this season. I have to say that much. I feel they've improved year on year under Paul Warne, and they're in a different spot to where they were. So I will go through all of my predictions, just the other side of a couple of plugs. Thank you again to our fan sponsors, the Donovan brothers, in loving memory of Michael Donovan of South East London, lifelong Millwall fan and admirer of this show. Rest in peace, obviously. Michael, a man of great taste there, supports a great football team and likes a great YouTube channel, I would say that. Thank you to the Donovan brothers. And one more plug, look up there. It is www.fanfirst.co.uk. Please head over to FanFirst, register your email and the team you support, and go and get rating, especially if you watched your team this weekend. Go and give some ratings out of 10. Everybody loves to see them in the newspaper. They love to give their own. They love to criticize other people's, including mine when I do them as well. So go and do it on the website. I think it could be a really good resource for the eye test versus statistical stuff. Right. My predictions. I've made a note as we have gone. I have got Bristol City and Borough to draw. I've got Reading to win at home to Wycombe. I've got Cardiff and Bournemouth to draw. I've got Swansea to win at Coventry. I've got Watford to beat Blackburn at home. I've got Millwall to beat Luton at home. I have got Stoke to beat Barnsley at home. I've got Sheffield Wednesday and Brentford drawing at Hillsborough. I've got Norwich to beat Birmingham and Huddersfield to beat Derby. Trouble for Coco if that happens. I've got Preston winning away at QPR. Don't ask me why. And I've got Forest to beat Rotherham. As I always say, get your predictions in. Don't worry about mine. Get yours in. And then you can really lord it over me if you were right after the fact. There we go. Speaking of after the fact, this broadcast will go out, I think, about 6 or half 6 or something today. I've got it in the diary for. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And again, apologies, it's not a live one. But you will realise if you view the channel tonight that we are going to be watch-along live stream for Leeds versus Wolves. That's a dearly departed show tonight at 7:50. So hence this here. Then we will be doing the dearly departed review tomorrow. So there'll be some clips and a full show. And there will be a championship review, similar sort of time, about 6 o'clock, maybe tomorrow night. There'll be clips during the day of both, though. No, sorry, I've got that so wrong. It's a dearly departed review. And then we'll be doing a watch along on Tuesday night. Too many games of Norwich, Birmingham. Then we'll do a Tuesday night review on Wednesday. Either way, hit subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and keep in touch with the channel and you'll see what's happening. I evidently haven't got a clue what's going on. It's all written on a whiteboard up there in my office. So we'll figure it out as we go. But loads and loads of content. 2 consecutive 3-game weeks. We've got weekend, midweek, weekend, midweek, weekend. It's going to be very, very telling where we are at the end of that run of 5 games in 14 days, for most teams there. So keep in touch. Keep your comments coming in. Hit like, hit subscribe, head over to patreon.com to support me there. www.patreon.com/Benjamin Bloom. And also www.amazon.co.uk/shop/the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. We are also on Facebook now. I've launched that just as another place for content to go out. So if you don't mind heading over there and just hitting like on that, even if you're going to watch on YouTube, it just helps me out. Right. Hopefully this all recorded okay in StreamYard so I could get the internet going in the broadcast. I'll check, and fingers crossed it did. And I will see you later tonight if you want to see me live for the watch along of Leeds v Wolves. If you want to come and join in that. But for Championship watch along tomorrow night, 7:30, Norwich v Birmingham. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And it is over and out.